Electric power is everywhere present in unlimited quantities and can drive the world's machinery without the need of coal, oil, gas, or any other fuel. This new power for the driving of the world's machinery will be derived from the energy.
It was the year 1943. A waitress enters a room in a New York hotel and is shocked by what she sees. There on the bed lies the dead body of an old man. It was no one else. He was Nikola Tesla, the greatest scientist of the century. But sadly, this is how this scientist, who made unprecedented inventions throughout his life, ended. Nikola Tesla was one of those few great scientists who changed the entire direction of human history.
I wanted to light up the whole Earth. There was enough electricity to create a second sun. Light would appear around the equator, like a ring around.
He was born on 10th of July, 1856 in Croatia. Tesla was incredibly smart during his school days. He could solve the most difficult problems of mathematics in his mind. Whenever top scientists are mentioned, Nikola Tesla's name is definitely taken. He was highly intelligent, but due to lack of sufficient funds, he could not realize his inventions on a large scale. He had many ideas that could make our world more modern today. The way electricity is delivered to our homes today was also invented by Nikola Tesla. He wanted to provide free electricity to the whole world and had even invented for it. When he went to the very famous financier of that time, J.P. Morgan, to ask for funding for his invention, Morgan flatly refused.
He's pulling the funding.
What?
I can't complete Wardenclyffe without it.
The reason was that Morgan had invested a lot of money in the copper industry. If he had invested money in Nikola Tesla's project for free energy, his business would have suffered losses and he would have gone into debt. Just because of this small reason, today we don't have free electricity. But in this video today, we will tell you about some of Nikola Tesla's inventions that, if realized, would have propelled the world much further ahead. So be sure to watch this video till the end. You are watching the Venture Discovery YouTube channel. In today's documentary, we will uncover many mysterious layers of Nikola Tesla's life. Nikola Tesla had a keen interest in studies since childhood. He delved into deep scientific concepts at a very young age, while his classmates focused solely on completing their courses. He excelled in physics right from the start. His dream was to become an engineer, but his parents wanted him to become a priest. They had already lost one child and didn't want to take any risks with the second. When Nikola completed his schooling, his father called him back home. Hearing his father's dream, Nikola felt deeply saddened. And in the meantime, he contracted cholera. His condition deteriorated to the point where he was almost dying. In such a situation, Nikola told his father about his dream of becoming an engineer, and his father had no other option. He allowed Nikola to pursue his dream of becoming an engineer. Within a few weeks, he recovered completely from the illness and enrolled at a university in Austria. After that, he invented alternating current, which changed his entire life. After completing his education, Nikola Tesla worked in several places. Later, he started working with Thomas Edison. There, he significantly contributed to Edison's many inventions. During this time, Edison challenged Tesla to improve his generator and motor. He promised Tesla several $1,000s if he succeeded. However, when Tesla accomplished the task, Thomas Edison reneged on his promise. Sadly, Edison rejected the invention. This was because Thomas Alva Edison had invented direct current, and he didn't want any other invention to compete with it. When Thomas Alva Edison rejected Nikola Tesla's idea, it led to a disagreement between Tesla and Edison, and Tesla quit his job there. Afterwards, Nikola started his own company named Tesla Electric Company. Here he discovered the largest invention of the century, the alternating current, AC system. With this, electricity could be easily transported from one place to another. On the other hand, Thomas Edison was in favor of the direct current, DC system. This sparked the AC-DC war between the two. Eventually, this AC-DC war became the most famous war in the scientific world. Victory went to Nikola Tesla. He made numerous inventions in his lifetime. He created Tesla coils, electric motors, X-ray technology, radio, and the AC current, among many other important discoveries. According to a report, it was Nikola Tesla who discovered radio, not Guglielmo Marconi. Surprisingly, the United States Supreme Court invalidated Marconi's radio patent. Consequently, he gave the patent for this discovery to Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla read many books and was knowledgeable in 8 languages. He had an extraordinary memory. Tesla knew that in the future, there would definitely be the invention of some kind of machine, and today, that is indeed happening. Anyway, he continued his study of electricity and attempted to invent something that would allow his alternating current to reach every household. After a few years, he even invented such a device, which he named the steam-powered oscillator. However, later it became known as the earthquake machine. There's a very interesting reason behind this. Nikola Tesla wanted to create a device that would easily transfer electricity, but he accidentally mentioned a device that caused very rapid earthquakes. When he tested this device in his building, the entire building shook. Then he tested it again at a construction site and got the same result. Nikola Tesla's main invention failed, but still today, we use this earthquake machine in various ways. Mostly, geologists use it to study the things inside the earth. Through this device, vibrations are sent into the ground, and when those vibrations reflect back, scientists can determine what's inside the earth. Some similar technology is also used in submarines. Nikola Tesla lived in a time when the world had seen the 2 biggest wars, World War I and World War II. He always wanted to find a way to end wars and prevent them from happening in the future. Some similar thoughts were also present in Albert Einstein's mind. He said in one of his famous quotes that, "I do not know with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with stones." Einstein meant that World War III would be so devastating that humanity would regress in technology for many years. Well, Nikola Tesla later invented 2 devices to escape from this battle. The first device is called the tidal wave generator. This device worked quite simply, but its power was anything but trivial. According to Nikola Tesla, this device would be placed in the path of any warring ship in the sea. As soon as the ship passes over this device, it will be activated through remote control. By doing so, waves about 30 to 40 meters high will rise, which will sink the entire ship, putting an end to the battle ahead. Nikola Tesla's second device is quite famous and also quite dangerous. It is known as the death ray or teleforce. Through this dangerous instrument, anything can be completely destroyed from a distance of 400 kilometers. It can also be used at the borders of countries. Whenever someone tries to cross that border, they will immediately turn into ashes. He took this idea to the American and Russian governments, but neither of them believed him. According to him, this was just a fictional device that could never become a reality. Tesla returned from there, but he announced after coming out that he would soon launch this device. But sadly, before the launch of that device, he passed away. You'd be surprised to know that Nikola Tesla has registered close to 300 patents in his name. He invented so many different and modern innovations, many of which are still unsuccessful in being scientifically proven today. More than half of them were stolen by other scientists and businessmen. The few remaining inventions needed funding to bring them into real life, which he couldn't obtain due to various reasons. In the end, only his alternating current idea spread worldwide, and today we can see that electricity is delivered through alternating current almost everywhere in the world. He had achieved success, but still, there was a trauma deeply embedded in his mind. This trauma was the death of his brother, Dane Tesla. He would spend the whole day lost in his thoughts, and to the extent that he hardly engaged in conversations with others. They always kept themselves alone, claiming that solitude was the secret to their various inventions and vivid imagination. Well, one day in this solitude, a brilliant idea struck their mind. They thought of creating a machine that could display whatever is going on in our minds onto a TV screen. They wanted to use the eyes like a projector. Their idea was quite simple, but they couldn't proceed with it because they weren't sure whether images form when imagining on the retina or not. Now, a century later, we can see through artificial intelligence that we can now visualize our thoughts on a screen in a blurred manner. This technology is still not fully complete, but it's certain that one day we will be able to see our thoughts on a screen effortlessly. According to Nikola Tesla, they could see the past, future, and present simultaneously. Tesla made many astonishing predictions in their time, many of which turned out to be true in the future. The 5 predictions by Nikola Tesla that came true? Nikola Tesla was one of the great inventors of the 19th century. However, he never became as popular as his great rival, Thomas Edison. Interestingly, Thomas Edison was his boss. The Croatian engineer Nikola Tesla made a significant contribution to the development of electricity. Edison preferred direct current, DC, which operated at 100 volts and was difficult to convert into other voltages. But Tesla believed that alternating current, as AC, was better because it could easily be transmitted from one place to another. Tesla emerged victorious, but history remembers Thomas Edison as the father of electricity. Credit must be given to South African entrepreneur Elon Musk, who named his electric car company Tesla. Musk serves as the CEO of the company, which specializes in manufacturing electric vehicles. Besides the invention of electricity, Tesla predicted various other technologies that have proven true decades later. Wi-Fi. Driven by his passion for wireless technology, Tesla made several discoveries centered around data transmission and developed many principles related to it. While Guillermo Marconi sent letters across the Atlantic using Morse code, Tesla wanted to take it further. He envisioned a future where wireless technology would be used to send telephone signals, documents, music files, and videos worldwide. Today, thanks to Wi-Fi, this is possible. Although he didn't create something like this himself, his prediction came true in 1990 with the invention of the World Wide Web. Mobile phone. In an interview with an American magazine in 1926, Tesla mentioned another prediction about the future. He referred to his idea of transmitting images, music, and videos as pocket technology. He had foreseen the invention of smartphones 100 years before their actual development. But did Tesla ever imagine that mobile phones would become such an integral part of our lives? Drone. In 1898, Tesla demonstrated automation without wires and remote control. Today, we call it remotely operated toy ships or drones. He astonished onlookers with new technologies like wireless communication, robotics, and logic gates. People thought there was a small monkey inside controlling the system. Tesla believed that one day, remotely operated machines would become a crucial part of people's lives, and this prediction was very close to reality. Commercial high-speed aircraft. Tesla envisioned aircraft that would travel at high speeds around the world on commercial routes between countries. These aircraft would have arrangements for many passengers. Nikola Tesla said, "The most important use of wireless power will be in machines that fly without fuel, which will transport people from New York to Europe in just a few hours." At that time, perhaps these ideas were considered madness. But Tesla was right once again, at least in terms of speed. As for flying vehicles without fuel and powered by electricity, that's still a dream of the future. Women empowerment. In 1926, an interview with Tesla was titled, "When Woman is Boss." This indicates what Tesla, at 68 years old, thought about women at the time. Tesla believed that women would use wireless technology for better education, employment, and to become influential in society. However, Connecting technology with women's empowerment in social and political life has been challenging over the past century. It has been observed that women are increasingly participating in the field of technology. Examples like Yahoo's former CEO and computer engineer Marissa Mayer and Facebook's current chief operating officer Sheryl Sandberg serve as evidence. Women like them have used technology to raise global awareness through campaigns like Me Too. The credit for bringing electricity to your home goes to Nikola Tesla. Fluent in 9 languages and holder of more than 300 patents, this scientist was truly ahead of his time in the field of science. As popular as his name is in the world of science, he is also somewhat mysterious. Nikola Tesla was a scientist who understood the laws of nature and made important contributions in opening the paths of development. His inventions founded the modern world. In the 19th century, Tesla was not only a physicist, mechanical engineer, and electrical engineer, but also a visionary scientist who saw the future from a unique perspective. Despite his many achievements, the last days of Nikola's life were quite poignant. It is difficult to believe that when Nikola died at the age of 86, he died in room number 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. His body was found by a hotel employee. Nikola had been living in that hotel room for 9 years and was eating only milk and crackers for his meals. Despite such limited resources, they shared their food with pigeons. Nikola had no money left in his final days. But the most surprising question is what happened to him that led to his deteriorating condition. A great scientist who had even established a company named Tesla Electric Car. How did he become so poor? Before knowing this, let's delve into the early days of his life. Born on July 10, 1856 in Smiljan, Croatia, Nikola was quite talented from childhood. His mind was sharp, and from an early age, he attempted to understand the relationship between science and nature. Nikola's interest in science was sparked by his mother, who used to invent small gadgets at home to make household chores easier. At a young age, Nikola had a special bond with his brother, but at the age of 7, his brother Den passed away, and Nikola never recovered from this event. He felt that his parents always favored his older brother more, and after his brother's death, they started to neglect Nikola. Well, these were personal aspects of his life, but his personality was quite unique. Nikola was a brilliant child, solving advanced calculus problems in math without pen and paper. He completed 4 years of schooling in just 3 years and passed with A grades. After completing his school education, Nikola stepped into the world of science. During his college studies, an incident occurred that was life-changing for Nikola and helped him emerge as one of the greatest scientists. In a physics lecture, professors showed him a dynamo that operated on direct current, DC, where electrons flow in one direction in a wire. Conversely, if electrons move forward and then backward in the wire, it's called alternating current, AC. During the physics class, Nikola suggested that using AC instead of DC might yield better results. This suggestion angered the professor, who removed the commutator from the dynamo, which converted DC to AC. As a result, the dynamo stopped working, and the professor proved that the dynamo couldn't run on AC. This incident greatly impacted Nikola, and he made it his life mission to unravel this puzzle. He spent more than half of his life researching AC. Almost all of Nikola's research revolved around alternating current, but the discovery he made during this work was based on AC. However, Tesla's challenging journey didn't end there. Instead, in his quest to showcase something new, many people took advantage of him. He took his next job at the Lightning Manufacturing Company, where the chief promised to invest in his AC motor invention if he succeeded in completing the Lightning project. But after completing the task, Tesla was fired, once again falling victim to betrayal. His situation was so dire that Tesla even worked digging ditches on the streets, but he soon emerged from that condition. With the help of the chief of that company, he met 2 businessmen named Brown and Peck. Collaborating with these businessmen, Nikola Tesla established his new company, named Tesla Electric Company. Over the next 15 years, Tesla embarked on a spree of inventions, one after another. By 1888, he had obtained several patents in his name. Furthermore, Nikola, along with the company Westinghouse, improved the design of the alternating current motor, which gradually gained popularity. Edison was not at all pleased with Tesla's success. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, Edison knew that Nikola's invention was brilliant. However, he didn't want to lose everything, so he left no opportunity to denigrate Tesla's AC power invention. He even spread rumors that AC current was dangerous for humans. Edison launched several campaigns against Tesla's equipment. People believed his lies at that time, but in the end, it was Tesla's invention that triumphed. That's why AC current is used for electricity worldwide. Remote control. In addition to Tesla's other inventions, the list also includes remote control, which Tesla patented in 1898 under his name. If you can change channels on your TV without getting up today, Nikola Tesla deserves the credit. He named his invention teleautomaton. His remote control worked to control a miniature boat. X-ray technology. If you've ever relied on X-ray technology for treatment, you owe Nikola Tesla a debt of gratitude because Tesla was the one who, among all, experimented with radiations and first produced X-ray images of the human body. He named this experiment shadow images. Even after completing this experiment, Tesla was one of the scientists who warned that X-rays could be harmful to humans. We've rarely seen scientists like him who have the courage to critique their own discoveries. Hydroelectric power. Nikola Tesla was one of those scientists who used his 9 patents to build the world's first hydroelectric stations. Yes, we're talking about Niagara Falls, where Nikola Tesla made a significant contribution. That's why Tesla is also considered the king of renewable energy. According to the Tesla Science Center, even in those days, Tesla always talked about renewable sources and energy. His special focus was on air, water, and the sun, where electricity could be created. Keeping this idea in mind, he also worked on hydroelectric power. But Tesla's inventions were not limited to this. There are many other discoveries included in the list of this great scientist. He also made discoveries related to the rotating magnetic field. Tesla invented the speedometer and also created the Tesla coil transformer. You'll be surprised to know that Tesla made several inventions that he forgot to patent, and in such cases, people claimed his technology as their own. For example, when Marconi first demonstrated practical radio, he was honored with the Nobel Prize for this invention. However, many of Tesla's inventions were used in that discovery. While Tesla didn't receive recognition during his lifetime, he did receive credit for this invention after his death. Nikola Tesla is considered one of the most influential inventors in history. His discoveries in the field of electricity were far ahead of his time and continue to impact technology today. Tesla's death came without wealth, or the recognition that ultimately would have come to him, despite his achievements, more than a century later. In his final days, some of his experiments proved unsuccessful, leading him into depression. He withdrew from social interactions and lived in isolation. In 1943, this great scientist passed away. Nikola Tesla made many significant scientific discoveries, for which he never received much credit. Despite accomplishing so much, the life of this great scientist was spent in considerable poverty. Due to these very mistakes, Tesla was so impoverished at the age of 86 that he didn't even have money for food. It's deeply saddening to know that despite his immense intelligence, Nikola didn't have a peaceful life in his final moments. His life was full of struggles, and even his death was quite tragic. The theories of energy by Nikola Tesla have been revolutionary, to say the least. But for some mysterious reason, history does not dwell enough on his story. The US government sat on Tesla's entire estate for 10 years. Did they keep any of his papers? I read that some people claim that Tesla saw the Great Pyramid as a power generator. All the pyramids had an explosion, and maybe all at the same time. Did you know that the word pyro in Latin means fire in the middle? Crashed into one of the towers. Before Tesla, you could only send electricity 1 mile just for lighting. After Tesla, you could run factories for 500, 600 miles in all directions. If they get a story and they repeat it over and over, they have no proof of any of it. They never found a mummy in a pyramid. Did Nikola Tesla find the secret to unlimited energy? And is there a plot to hide his findings? Energy, the ultimate power. When I think about it, I find that most wars that have been waged in the past years have been about the control of what provides energy. And if I'm to talk about energy, then I must mention Nikola Tesla. I still remember my physics teacher at school saying that Tesla was an exceptional genius whose work is behind many important inventions. The story of energy might be quite mysterious. Tesla was a scientist, but some people say that he was mystical. They claim he believed the Egyptian Great Pyramids were key to limitless energy, an energy that could be distributed to everyone in the world for free. He was a controversial personality even after his death. They say that after he died alone in his hotel room in New York, the FBI confiscated all his belongings, taking all his documents with them. And for many years, they say they were classified, and even until now, many people claim there are documents missing. Who was Tesla, a genius? Who was Nikola Tesla? Was he really a genius? What is the difference between him and the famous inventor Thomas Edison? I think the best person to answer this is Dr. Mark Safer, writer and university lecturer, who also authored the book Wizard: The Life and Times of Nikola Tesla. Hi Mark, thank you for meeting me. Thank you. The first question I have is, who was Nikola Tesla? Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in Smiljan, Croatia. He studied at the University of Graz, which was like the MIT of Austria in those days. He was a mathematical genius and eventually moved to the United States to work for Tom Edison. Things didn't work out too well, and then he moved out on his own. Can you tell me what his greatest accomplishments were? And I don't think it's just one. I think there's at least 3 major inventions. The first is the induction motor. What Tesla figured out was how to harness alternating current. Before Tesla, you could only send electricity 1 mile, power dropping off over distance, just for lighting. After Tesla, you could put in a hydroelectric power system. He's the inventor of the hydroelectric power system, and you could run factories for 500, 600 miles in all directions. He also invented wireless communication. He invented what became the radio and cell phone technology, the ability to multiply frequencies, and created an unlimited number of wireless channels. We talk about Hertz waves, but they're not really Hertz waves, they're Tesla waves. All of our computer systems run on the binary code, and he really is the forerunner to all that. So, I think those are his 3 major inventions. That's really big. In your opinion, what makes him different from other inventors like Edison, for example? In general, Edison built better mousetraps. The light bulb existed before Edison perfected the light bulb. Motion picture cameras existed. He built the best one. Tesla himself distinguished from Edison because Tesla said, "I discovered new principles." He was able to transmit voice by means of wireless communication. That was a new principle. One of Tesla's most spectacular projects was the Wardenclyffe Tower in New York. With it, he wanted to send wireless electricity across the globe. What can you tell me about Tesla's towers? It's a very sad story. In 1898, he was doing big experiments in downtown New York City, and it was scary. So, he moved all the way out to Colorado to test his wireless inventions and met with J.P. Morgan. Morgan gave him $150,000 to build a tower. Tesla read an article that Marconi was using his equipment and he freaked out. So he doubled the size of the tower because he figured, I'm not going to just send impulses from New York to London. If I build a tower twice that high, they can send it all over the world, and Morgan can make even more money. So Morgan was in Europe at the time, and when Morgan returned, he found out that Tesla ran out of money, but he'd also doubled the size of the tower from 90 feet to 180 feet. So that was one of the reasons Morgan pulled the funding. But Morgan didn't just pull the funding, he blocked other investors. And the reason he blocked Tesla, I think, is because he was partly afraid that maybe Tesla was right, maybe you could send electrical power without wires. And Morgan had rubber plantations. You know, you have the rubber around the wires. He had copper mines, he had lumber yards, he wanted telephone poles, he wanted wires, he wanted to sell copper, he wanted to sell rubber. After Tesla died, what happened to his inventions, documents, and manuscripts? The US government sat on Tesla's entire estate for 10 years, from 1943 to about 1952, until they finally released it. And now his estate is in Belgrade. The question that you're really asking is, did they keep any of his papers? I don't know if they did, and it wouldn't surprise me if indeed that has occurred. Tesla and the pyramids. I read that some people claim that Tesla saw the Great Pyramid as a power generator. They say that he built his tower that generates power from nature using the same engineering principles as the ones used to build the Great Pyramid. Have you considered that this could be nonsense? This is a good question, of course, and I may just know someone who could answer it. Why are there people who believe there is a strong connection between the Great Pyramids and great energy? The film producer and director Carmen Bolter made a 5-part documentary titled The Pyramid Code, which focuses on the pyramids and other ancient structures in Egypt. I watched this documentary series to search for new information. Nikola Tesla sought to provide the world with free wireless electricity for everybody on Earth. He discovered that electricity occurred naturally throughout the Earth's atmosphere and ground. This energy was not the kind of energy that we have, that pollutes. It was a completely passive energy that had no byproducts. If the pyramid fields and the network of underground tunnels are still there, why don't they generate energy the way they used to? What did Tesla see in the pyramids other than they are giant tombs? I'd like to ask Carmen this question. Hi Carmen, can you explain to me why do you think the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt were not tombs? It has nothing to do with that, and they keep repeating. They get a story and they repeat it over and over, and they get the students to repeat it to get their mark, to get out of college, and none of it. They have no proof of any of it. They never found a mummy in a pyramid. Why do you think they were power generators? Christopher Dunn has shown how the pyramids could have been used as an energy plant. He's written several books, The Giza Power Plant. He's an engineer, and so his research isn't psychic and, esoteric in any way. It's mechanical, and he's done a very good job of showing how energy could have been collected, and that's what part of the weird chemical marks that you see. All the pyramids had an explosion, and maybe all at the same time, and huge cracks are in these stones that are like 300 tons, So how do you crack through the entire stone without this force? And in the Great Pyramid, in the King's Chamber, there's like a crack in the wall, and the side of the sarcophagus is blown right off, and that's like 4 inches thick of pure granite, which is very hard. So if we went in there with sledgehammers and 100 people, we couldn't break it that way. It's funny that you say that because did you know that the word pyro in Latin means fire in the middle? Pyramids and Tesla. Did Tesla use ancient Egyptian theories in his work? Is there a similarity between Tesla's towers of wireless energy and the pyramids? Danny Kerr has done a lot of research on the pyramids and energy. He may have some answers. Hi Danny, how do you think the pyramids generated energy? I went to look at the inside of the Great Pyramid and try and figure out how it worked. And what I realized was, there was a gentleman named John Cadman. He's a hydrologist, and he had shown that the Great Pyramid couldn't be like a pulse generator. He showed how it created water hammer and could pump water. When I first saw his theory, I realized right away that the granite plugs that are in the start of the ascending passages, that those would move. The pyramids had perimeter walls around them, and I didn't know this before, and it's accepted by Egyptologists, and they say it was to keep thieves out, and what he was saying was, it was to keep water in. That was really interesting, and so the water level of the pyramid would be above the ascending passage girdle stones, and so the water would have built up above them. The second you start a pulse inside, it pushes water up, and from there, the pressure increases. Just did work on the king's chamber. Then, once I investigated how a motor would work like this, I came across thermoacoustic engines. Can you now please tell me similarities between Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower and the Giza pyramids? Apparently, Tesla said his Wardenclyffe Tower, he was using a longitudinal wave, or he was outputting a longitudinal electric wave, and technically it's not possible. No one's figured that out. In the pyramids, they're producing loud vibrations that mix to produce longitudinal waves. It's very similar. Also, the pyramids in Egypt and the Wardenclyffe Tower are both built on aquifers. With the Wardenclyffe Tower, the water was there to aid the grounding. He was transmitting through the ground, and the water lowered the resistance in the ground and made it a conductor. The pyramids, that's also the case. Not only are they water-powered, they are built above an aquifer, and they had satin pools, we think. Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was low frequency, so is the Great Pyramid. That's another similarity. Both have the capability to transmit worldwide. Conclusion. It seems that there can be a similarity in principles between the energy tower built by Tesla and the Great Pyramids built by ancient Egyptians. Could this be a coincidence? And why has there been no one until today who tried using this technology? These are questions that require another journey to search for answers. Energy is simply power. That's why I see the most important structures today are not palaces or skyscrapers or cemeteries. I think structures like dams, oil rigs, and nuclear power plants are the most important because these are the factories of energy, hence power. Yet, when we look at the Great Pyramids of Giza, are we supposed to think they were no more than giant tombs? If financing Tesla hadn't stopped, he could have succeeded in providing the world with clean energy at low cost. Does that mean Tesla could have changed the world? After all, what discoveries did Nikola Tesla make? Tesla's egg of Columbus. Tesla spent a terrible winter working as a ditch digger from 1886 to 1887 after being driven out of Tesla Electric Light Company with nothing except worthless shares. He persevered and was motivated to improve his concept of generating energy through spinning magnetic fields. However, Tesla recognized that he had to find a means to convince investors and supporters to comprehend the potential of his innovation. Tesla created a gadget to demonstrate the concept, an electromagnetic motor that generated the force required to spin a brass egg and stand it upright. When they failed, Columbus took an egg and squashed the bottom flat to keep it upright. They accused him of pulling a cheap trick, but Columbus overcame their objections by explaining that an idea can appear impossible until a smart solution is found, at which time it becomes simple. This idea was incorporated into Tesla's egg of Columbus, which he used to illustrate his concept of alternating current power to investors. It was a stroke of genius that resulted in investment from investors Alfred S. Brown, the director of Western Union, and Charles F. Peake, a New York City attorney. Tesla's electric car Tesla, electric car, frequently associate Elon Musk's Tesla with electric vehicles. But did you know that Nikola Tesla, the great inventor, had drawings for an electric car over a century ago? Unfortunately, these concepts were never fully realized, and the electric car concept was put on hold until recently. Tesla presented his ambitious aim to construct a cheap and functional electric car in 1931 at the age of 75. He envisioned a car powered by a new sort of rechargeable battery he designed, dubbed the Tesla battery. This battery was made of a nickel-iron alloy, which Tesla claimed was cheaper, more efficient, and lasted longer than any other type of battery available at the time. Despite Tesla's lofty ambitions, he was unable to get money for his electric car project, and the concept eventually died. 17 electric arc lamp following A. Electric arc lamp, disagreement over payment. Nikola Tesla left Thomas Edison's company and formed a new company in partnership with Robert Lane and Benjamin Ville. With Tesla designing an arc lighting system, a fast-growing segment of the new electric light industry used mostly for outdoor lighting. Tesla created an arc lamp with automated adjustment and a fail-safe switch, as well as better dynamos. These were Tesla's initial patents in the United States. By 1886, he had established a central station-based lighting system in RAW, as well as a few industry. Tesla valve. Nikola Tesla invented the Tesla valve, also known by its designer as a valvular conduit. It is a fixed geometry passive check valve that permits a fluid to flow preferentially in one direction while avoiding the use of moving elements. The Tesla valve is utilized in microfluidic applications and has benefits such as scalability, durability, and ease of fabrication in a variety of materials. It's also employed in microfluidics and pulse jet engines. The valve was originally designed to feed fuel into the innovative Tesla turbine, though it has been used in many high-tech applications from fluidics to mixing. Precision steel ball bearings are used here in place of the fluid to offer a real and tactile insight into the mechanism and operation of this unique solid-state valve, producing an executive desk toy that is truly fascinating to play with. The Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla was widely considered as America's best electrical engineer by 1900, having captivated the globe with his breakthrough innovations and victory over Thomas Edison in the Battle of Currents. He then began his most ambitious project to date, the Wardenclyffe Transmission Tower. The Wardenclyffe facility, built between 1901 and 1905, was based on another of Tesla's groundbreaking concepts. Tesla intended to use the tower to achieve what had previously been thought to be impossible: a global wireless communication system. The tower would be the prototype for a system that would use the Earth as a conductor to broadcast music, news, stock market reports, secure military communications, and even transmit images around the world. It was an extremely foresighted attempt to build a telecommunications infrastructure comparable to what the internet provides today, but entirely wireless. But Tesla had a far more ambitious plan for the huge Wardenclyffe Tower. He had already demonstrated that high-frequency signals could be carried wirelessly using his own Tesla coil transformers, which led to what would become a lifelong obsession: wireless energy transmission. Unfortunately, Tesla's lofty ambition for Wardenclyffe outstripped his means and the patience of his sponsors. The project fell into financial difficulties before completion, and the unfinished tower was finally dismantled in 1917 to satisfy Tesla's obligations. What was once a renowned laboratory full of fantastic Tesla innovations is now a desolate memorial to his most ambitious idea. The Telforce Death Ray. Telforce Death Ray. Nikola Tesla was in financial trouble by the 1930s. The once prodigious genius who had revolutionized the globe with his electrical innovations was now a frail old man trudging between Manhattan hotels, stockpiling newspapers and birdseed. When the unpaid bills at one hotel were too much for him, he'd just move on to the next, his fading renown being his only currency. People took notice when Tesla began talking about even crazier projects, such as a powerful new weapon he was developing. Tesla said that his new weapon would use a beam of metal ions traveling at 270,000 km/s. Tesla was always vague about how this beam was feasible, claiming new laws of physics that no one had ever imagined. Nonetheless, he boasted to every reporter who would listen about his work. The all-penetrating beam would pack 100 billion watts into just 100 millionth of a square cm. For decades, Tesla hyped his Telforce weapon, claiming it could shoot down planes from 250 kilometers away. The innovation was given a new name by the press: Death Ray. Tesla, despite claims to the contrary, never offered much evidence that the Death Ray operated, but no one could completely ignore the possibility. This was, after all, Tesla. The weapon's popularity skyrocketed in the run-up to World War II as Nazi Germany created a fearsome air force. People in Tesla's birthplace, then known as Yugoslavia, asked him to return and install the rays to defend them from the Nazi threat. This never materialized, even though Tesla continued to claim he had invented the death ray until his death. Radio-controlled ship. Tesla performed a scientific tour de force in Madison Square Garden during the 1898 electrical exhibition, going well beyond the usually considered limits of technology. His innovation was a radio-controlled boat, a large, low-lying steel ship about 4 ft long. Indeed, Tesla had been roaming around New York City since 1895, picking up radio signals created by various high-frequency experiments. He had received them as far away as West Point, which was 30 miles away. He was able to put numerous control elements to work quickly after inventing or improving them. Tesla's remarkable invention had little understanding or application in 1898, though he had a grim vision of a military clamor for radio-guided torpedoes. Government interest did not materialize. Mark Twain, Tesla's good buddy, wrote promptly saying he was eager to represent Tesla in the sale of this destructive terror he had been inventing to England and Germany. In 1916, the Navy did fund some trials, but the funds went to one of Tesla's competitors. He complained bitterly that he couldn't get any listeners until his patent expired. The earthquake seismic machine. Tesla was working on waves and resonance for energy transfer in 1896. The plan was to build a mechanical oscillator capable of producing various frequencies until they matched the resonance frequency of the desired object. The gadget was completed in 1897, and in 1898, he allegedly managed to oscillate his laboratory at 48 East Houston Street, New York, to the point where worried neighbors phoned the police and an ambulance, fearing an earthquake. He put his small vibrator in his coat pocket and headed out to look for a half-built steel structure. He discovered one. 10 floors of steel framework, with no masonry or stone laid around it, in the Wall Street neighborhood. He attached the vibrator to one of the beams and fiddled with the settings until he was satisfied. The structure began to groan and weave, and the steel workers rushed to the ground, terrified that there had been an earthquake. The police were called. Tesla slipped the vibrator into his pocket and walked away. He could have laid the building on the street in 10 minutes. In fact, modern seismology uses vibrations produced by controlled explosions or mechanical pistons as a type of underground echo sounding to prospect. Nobody, however, possesses an earthquake machine to this day. Wireless energy. Power breakthrough is rarely attributed to him more than a century after his death. Although Thomas Edison is better known for inventing electricity, his tests were a failure. Tesla's alternating currents, in fact, proved to be the most reliable technique of conducting energy using magnetic induction. Tesla successfully transmitted currents through plastic over short distances, defying the assumption that metal-to-metal contact was required to conduct electricity. His final experiment location was the Tesla Laboratory in Warden Cliff, which featured an 18.5 T tower with metal bars extending below ground. Today's image is of electrical bolts extending from the top of the tower where the coils exchange electrical currents. Tesla's coil can still be seen in some modern television and radio designs, but it has few practical applications. His resonant inductive coupling technology, on the other hand, is used in short-range wireless systems. Tesla's research was stifled on the verge of offering free energy to all by powerful individuals who did not want energy to become a free commodity. Bankers refused to finance Tesla, and his hypothesis of global transmission was condemned. His research, however, was so vital that the FBI confiscated it following his death. Tesla's wireless power research has the potential to lead to future improvements as technology improves to accommodate new AI technologies. Ozone generator. Nikola Tesla was desperate in 1903. The brilliant inventor had enticed multi-millionaire J.P. Morgan to invest in wireless electric power, but Tesla's efforts to develop the technology had so far been futile. Tesla's credibility had been sullied by his failed endeavor, and he sought to repair his image while also making money. As a result, Tesla focused on another of his inventions, He patented the first portable ozone generator in the United States in 1896. Following Morgan's rejection, the cash-strapped scientist formed the Tesla Ozone Company and marketed his devices to clean indoor air. Indeed, Tesla's machines pumped poison into the rooms. Ozone in the upper atmosphere serves as crucial protection against the sun's UV radiation, but pump it into your living room and it will harm you. Tesla, a natural showman, would be shocked to find that today's ozone peddlers tout his brief involvement as a stamp of validity. Tesla appears to have been free of arrogance when it came to his ozone generators. In his self-promotional autobiography, My Inventions, he makes no mention of supersonic airships, Ozone 9 supersonic airships. Tesla began merging his expertise of electrical and mechanical engineering to apply it to flying. After Wardenclyffe's failure, he needed something else to occupy his thoughts. What better than the idea of flight, which had fascinated Tesla since he was a child? In the July 1919 issue of Reconstruction magazine, he described his work on constructing a supersonic aircraft that would fly 8 meters above the Earth's surface and create enough speed for passengers to travel between New York and London in 3 hours. His idea was to use electricity transferred wirelessly from power plants on the ground to power airplanes, removing the need for aircraft to carry fuel. AC alternating current invented a technique for generating electrical current in a piece of iron spinning between 2 electrified wire coils. When this spinning magnetic field device was rotated using mechanical energy, such as steam or hydropower, it generated alternating current. When the generated current reached its user and was fed into another rotating magnetic field device, it transformed into an AC induction motor that generated mechanical energy. Induction motors power domestic appliances such as washers and dryers. The invention of these devices resulted in widespread industrial and manufacturing applications for electricity. Tesla's overall vision included more than just the induction motor. He exhibited a polyphase alternating current system, including a generator, transformers, transmission scheme, and motor and lighting, in a series of patents that made history. It offered the basic ingredients for electrical production and usage from the power source to the power user. Today, our alternating current power grid is virtually hydroelectric power plant, unchanged. 7. Hydroelectric power plant in Niagara Falls. Nikola Tesla developed the first hydroelectric power plant harnessing the power of the waterfalls he had marveled at since childhood. This was Tesla's alternating current last win over Edison's direct current. Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse built the hydroelectric power plant in 1895. These power plants were the catalyst for global electrification. 6. Neon light. Throughout the 1890s, in addition to his work on AC power technology, Tesla was also dabbling in high-frequency power. In 1873, James Clerk Maxwell of England mathematically established that light was electromagnetic radiation. The light was powerful and vibrated at an astonishingly high frequency. To examine this unknown universe, Tesla created a one-of-a-kind gadget known today as a Tesla coil. Tesla created a component of the primary neon and fluorescent lighting with high frequencies. He also took the first X-ray photographs. In any case, these acclaims vanished in 1890 when a vacuum tube illuminated in his hand without any electric connection. This was the start of Tesla's lifelong interest, the delivery of energy wirelessly. The intriguing fact is that no one was dealing with cathode rays or electrons observed in vacuum tubes comparable to neon lights. Tesla experimented with passing electrical particles through gases and produced 4 distinct types of lightning using the bright phosphorescent compound he created. Tesla converted the dark light into visible light. He also discovered particle applications for such an invention when creating light and neon signs. The concept became increasingly popular, and neon lights and signage today light up major city centers all over the world. X-rays. Most people don't associate Tesla with X-ray technology, but he began experimenting with the technology in 1894. Tesla began experimenting with radiation energy around the end of the 19th century. After discovering damaged film from prior tests, the following year, Wilhelm Röntgen, a German physics professor, issued a study on X-rays. To this day, Röntgen is credited with discovering X-rays, but Tesla was not far behind. He might have even beaten Röntgen to the punch if his studio hadn't been destroyed by a fire in 1895. Nonetheless, there was no ill will between the two men. In fact, when Röntgen's study was published, Tesla sent him a letter congratulating him and giving some of the images he'd been creating. In reply, Röntgen praised him for his efforts. The thought camera. Tesla felt that thoughts could be photographed. In 1893, he was inspired while conducting tests. He felt convinced that a definite image generated in thinking must, because of reflex action, produce a similar image on the retina, which might perhaps be read by appropriate apparatus. The creator imagined reflecting an image on an artificial retina, photographing it, and presenting it on a screen. If this were to be accomplished, the items envisioned by a person would be plainly reflected on the screen as they were created, allowing every thought of the individual to be read. In the year 2023, scientists are researching techniques to read human thoughts. There is also a new initiative that uses AI to help decipher what our neurons are doing, so it can transform it into writing. Not precisely what Tesla had in mind, but not that far off. Even more technological trickery may be feasible in the future, such as the ability to record and replay our dreams, or interact telepathically with one another via brain implants or neural cables. And you don't need a thought camera to know that most people will find these ideas fascinating. Artificial tidal waves. Tesla believed science could be used to avoid war. The New York World reported in 1907 on another of Tesla's military ideas, in which wireless telegraphy would trigger the detonation of heavy explosives at sea, resulting in massive tidal waves capable of capsizing whole enemy fleets. The publication claimed that the artificial tidal surge would make navies as useless as the paper boats that babies float in bathtubs, and that by its horrors hasten the day of universal peace. Tesla coil invented the Tesla coil, an electrical resonant transformer circuit, in 1891. It is used to generate high voltage, low current, high frequency alternating current. Tesla experimented with a variety of setups that included 2 or sometimes 3 connected resonant electric circuits. Tesla used these circuits to conduct groundbreaking experiments in electrical lighting, phosphorescence, X-ray emission, high-frequency alternating current phenomena, electrotherapy, and wireless energy transmission. Until the 1920s, Tesla coil circuits were commercially utilized in spark gap radio transmitters for wireless telegraphy, as well as in medical equipment such as electrotherapy and violet ray devices. Although small coils are still employed as leak detectors in high vacuum systems, they are mostly used for entertainment and instructional displays nowadays. Tesla coils originally employed fixed spark gaps or rotary spark gaps to produce intermittent excitation of the resonant circuit. Phosphorescent bulb. Tesla's early lighting inventions were traditional filament or arc devices that were powered by high-frequency currents. As he immediately discovered, such currents may be used to diffuse gases or generate light emission in many solid materials. His ideas in this sector, while influential and revealed in a series of acclaimed lectures, were rarely patented because Tesla invented more powerful gear that could function at greater frequencies and voltages than anyone else. He was able to generate fields that could light up phosphorescent tubes throughout his laboratory without the use of wires. By 1890, the energy was simply long wavelength radio from Tesla's high-frequency generators, but the signal was strong enough to be usable as power rather than communication. His early wireless power demonstrations, delivered with consummate flair, had the electrical profession transfixed, and the general people who were exposed to these mysteries at Tesla's lighting show at the 1893 Columbian Exposition came away with the notion that a new era of scientific miracles was on the horizon. It's obvious that Tesla was a genius, but he struggled to make a living nonetheless. Which one was your favorite? Why don't you let us know in the comments below? Nikola Tesla's education, awards, and achievements. Tesla studied at several places in Europe, which also included Germany, Austria, and Prague. At the Austrian Polytechnic in Graz, he pursued electrical engineering and later joined the Charles Ferdinand University in Prague. He had the opportunity to go to Budapest in the late 1870s, where he worked at the telephone exchange. He made enhancements to some inventions and came up with an idea for the induction motor, which produced an alternating current system and used electromagnetic induction from the magnetic field instead of electrical connections to the rotor. At age 28 in 1884, he decided to move to the US in search of more opportunities. Tesla met Thomas Edison in the US. Tesla worked alongside him for a couple of months. When Edison declined to pay Tesla for his work, Tesla decided to quit and pursue his journey as an inventor. Tesla's legacy holds 9 decorations with certificates of honors with which the scientist was decorated between 1892 and 1939. Contribution in alternating currents. Nikola Tesla's best-known invention was alternating current. AC power permits electricity to be sent over extended distances much more efficiently. Tesla's AC patents were accepted by Westinghouse and used for the lighting of the Chicago World's Fair. Tesla's apparent essential skill for invention and profound imagination made him one of the most prolific inventors of our times. Clearly, his genius was unmatched in his time and perhaps ours. Nikola Tesla versus Thomas Edison. Tesla came to the United States in 1884 with nothing but the clothing on his back and a letter of introduction to Thomas Edison, the renowned inventor and business mogul whose DC-based electrical works were quickly becoming the industry standard. Edison hired Tesla, and the two men spent the next few years working side by side on improving Edison's innovations. Several months later, the two parted ways due to a tense business-scientific relationship, which historians attribute to their polar opposite personalities. While Edison was a powerful personality focused on marketing and financial success, Tesla was commercially out of touch and fragile. Nikola Tesla facts. Tesla was a scientist, physicist, engineer, and inventor. Alternating current, AC, the form of electricity that fuels civilization and is essential for lighting, was one of his greatest innovations. Tesla became close friends with Mark Twain after claiming that reading author Mark Twain's writing helped him recover from a terrible illness. Tesla was given $50,000 by Thomas Edison to upgrade his existing electricity-generating technology. Tesla was successful, although Edison later stated that he was joking. Tesla abruptly resigned. According to several who recounted Tesla's obsessive rituals and superstitions, he may have suffered from what is now known as obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. Tesla never married. Tesla once expressed his view that he would never be worthy of a lady. He devoted himself to scientific research. Tesla was a multilingual genius with a photographic memory. Tesla's alternating current, AC, clashed with Edison's direct current, DC, which required power plants to be built every square mile, rendering DC wasteful in comparison to AC. To show that AC was too unsafe to utilize, Edison staged gruesome public demonstrations of animal electrocutions. Tesla once stated that he was in love with a white pigeon because he feared that personal connection would interfere with his study. Conclusion: Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American inventor and engineer who developed the rotating magnetic field, which is the foundation of most alternating current machines. He also invented the three-phase electric power transmission system. In 1884, he immigrated to the United States and sold George Westinghouse the patent rights to his system of alternating current dynamos, transformers, and motors. He created the Tesla coil, an induction coil that is widely utilized in radio technology, in 1891. Tesla was born into a Serbian family. His father was an Orthodox priest, and his mother, though uneducated, was quite brilliant. He developed incredible imagination and originality, as well as a poetic touch, as he grew older. Historians believe that several of Tesla's patents have yet to be discovered. Hence, the precise number of patents he holds is contested. He is credited with at least 300 innovations, many of which are related, as well as many unpatented ideas that he developed over the course of his career. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Also, be sure to check out our other videos for more fascinating topics. Leave a comment below letting us know what you thought of this video and any ideas you have for future content. And remember to turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.